Hello and welcome back to NA Turbo. So I thought I haven't done a bit of a fleet update for a little while, so I thought I'd do one. And we'll start with the mostly broken ones because, yeah, there's quite a few broken ones recently. So we've come around the back first of all. So this is the MG ZR that our dad was using as his commuter car. So you didn't see much of this on the channel because it just did what it was supposed to do. So it's a 54 plate MG ZR, but with the L series diesel in it. So generally ultra reliable. He's done about 25,000 miles in it. But unfortunately, this is very much in the dead zone at the minute. So a little while ago, when we were actually due to use it to go somewhere, it came up onto a roundabout and sort of hesitated, stopped, and then wouldn't restart again. So when we went out to sort of look at it, it basically, you could spin it over on the starter motor, but it almost sounded like there was no compression. So really weird. Got it recovered home, had a look at it, and unfortunately what seems to have happened, before we bought it and before the previous owner had it, it had had a full engine rebuild at a garage. And everything redone. But what seems to have happened is they've reused a bolt on the cam pulley that you're not supposed to reuse. They're a one-time bolt because of the torque you have to torque them up to. So basically, when we looked at it, what's happened is this bolt, because it's been used and torqued up most probably with a windy gun, has actually had a fault in it where it's been braking. It sort of broke through. It took 25,000 miles in a couple of years to do it. The bolt then sheared, and as a result, the cam pulley then fell off. So yeah, unfortunately undesirable, which means the way these L series engines work, it's, even though it didn't sound like it, it's going to have mashed valves, dropped valves into pistons. Yeah, all undesirable. So yeah, my motto of the story is check if you have work done at garages, especially engine work, that they haven't reused bolts they shouldn't reuse, and particularly that they have torqued them up in the correct way, i.e. not with a impact wrench or something similar. So this is sort of lying in situ at the moment, deciding what we're going to do with it. Because of the value of them, it's not really worth having the engine rebuilt. We haven't even started to strip it down yet to have a look how far it's actually bent valves and damaged pistons. We might have got away with it, but with these engines, I doubt it. But the other option is to get a used engine and stick it in it, or alternatively find another one with the L series diesel in it. We've seen a couple on eBay that are the 25s rather than the ZRs, which actually mean, because they're on Project Drive era, they've got better interiors and things. So the idea may be to make an MG ZR out of a 25 by just bolting the trim pieces and the whale spoiler that's on the back there to it, and the side skirts, and put the wheels on, etc. And we can even go as far as taking the suspension off it and then scrapping this shell, because the values of them, they're great cars, but they're not really worth having the engine rebuilt. So that one is broken car number uno. And that's awaiting its fate at the moment. Obviously the weather hasn't been great, and we'll just have a look at broker car number 2. Okay, and here we are in the garage with broker car number 2. So this is Hannibal, the Supra. So those of you that watch the channel might obviously know his history that I've detailed. So this is our Toyota Supra 1990 Mark III turbo manual, which is rare, standard UK car. The reason I took it off the road is twofold, really. So first of all, it was going to come off the road because, as all 1990s Supras do, and 90s Toyotas in general, they rot horrifically. And as you can see, we've started the work on repairing this one. So the arches, always knew was an issue. I've been bodging them for years just to get it through MOTs with filler, etc. But I decided now's the time to preserve it and take it off the road properly. And we've also, if I pan down there, started chopping out the rot that was, this section was just rotten. It's also gone into some of the sills, and there was a panel back here that we've already started putting in. So if I'll bring you back up without making you too sick. So Hannibal's off the road for the foreseeable for that. I'm probably saying about a year, just to add fun to funsies with him. Before I took him off the road, I literally did a service, replaced the 2 strut mounts at the back for him because they were clanking, and then he decided to blow his head gasket again. So it had a head gasket replaced at about 6,000 miles and 3 years ago, something like that. The head at the time, because it had been stored at some point with water in its cooling system, wasn't in great condition. We'd had it welded and skimmed, and I put ARP head studs in it. It also had a fault with its actual boost controller. Its electronic one that's in the car had failed, so it was shoving all the boost in that the turbo could. I tried to modulate it manually, but that's probably contributed to it. But there's possibly something amiss with the head stroke the block from it having water in it, purely because it's blown across cylinder 6 again, which we've confirmed with a camera test down it. So we showed a sort of camera down the spark plug hole for cylinder number 6, and yeah, you could see when you looked at the top of the piston there was red coolant in it, so it's gone there, and that was the same place it went the first time. So potentially that needs to be looked at. I'm hoping it may just need it's not being decked properly by the engineering firm, or it just needs another decking or another skim, and then a proper head gasket, a race head gasket on it. But yeah, there's potentially something slightly more amiss with that. But yeah, so that's Hannibal. Obviously, as you get into it, you discover more things. So the fuel tank on these is metal. It's its original fuel tank. It's not in the best shape, and trying to find another one, you just can't. So potentially I'm either going to have to look at a donor, because to do the welding you need to get the fuel tank out, and I'm not sure it's going to survive. So yeah, costs some money involved in that, but I miss him. I want him back on the road. So yeah, hopefully within the next sort of year, 2025 into 26, he'll be ready for summer season of 26. Hopefully that's my plan. Welding wise, both sides need doing really, but we're just going to concentrate on the one side, on the driver's side at the moment, because that's the part I've got a repair panel for off another car from a dry state in America. And then hopefully on this side, I'll just need to track down another one, also from the States, because unfortunately repair panels just aren't available over here, and if you try to get one from a donor car, they're pretty much non-existent or rotten already. So yeah, he's off the road for a bit. I miss him dearly, so I definitely want him back again. But yeah, I can see I'm going to have to throw a fair bit of money at him, which I don't currently have at the minute. So yeah, broker car number 2, and we'll go and look at some more running ones. Okay, and so we're now around the front of the garage with a pair of Rovers. So one working, one slightly broken at the moment. So we'll do with the slightly broken MG ZR at the moment. Sorry, ZT. So this is 190 plus V6. That's Ryan's. That was his daily car in the colour changing paint. It's been a fantastic car, and please no comments about K-Series and kettles and that sort of thing, because A, this isn't a K-Series, it's a KV6, and B, those comments are not really funny anymore. So yeah, this one's it's done about 25,000 miles now since we got it, and the clutch has decided to give up. So yeah, as you can see, this was Ryan's daily car, so he's just waiting for new clutch. It also has a dual mass flywheel on this. Excuse me, so a dual mass flywheel to be done as well, and then the fluid change on it, which is a bit of a pain in the arse, because to do it, it's in the middle of the dashboard, and you have to top it up with a pipette without taking the dashboard out. Not Rover design, that was a BMW design. So yeah, thank you BMW. But as you can see, it's still an amazing looking car, and he probably we'll probably get comments about using it in daily use, but that's what these cars are for. There's no point sitting them in a garage and polishing on them. But we have plans where, and Ryan has plans where this one will eventually become a sort of long distance muncher, but spend the hard times just off the road resting. So yeah, that's him. So he's currently waiting for that. So he's a little bit broken at the moment. And then we have the big SD1 V8. So he's very, very, I say this with crossed fingers, ready for the road now. So Ryan's just been doing some fettling with dash pods. The twin carb dash pots even, where it needed sort of stronger springs in it because it's got higher lift cam in it, etc. now. So, but that's all done. The electrical gremlins that we did have been chased down. So it's just really that, and then obviously as soon as the weather gets a little bit better, sort of going to press that into a bit of daily use so it can start bedding in, because he hasn't seen the road for a long time now. Yeah, it's a lovely car, so it'd be great to see him actually fully on the road. So yeah, that's the SD1 V8. It's also a manual, so quite rare. I'll just take you in for a quick look in case you haven't seen inside one of these before. It's also had the addition of a genuine wooden picket steering wheel from the era. So yeah, it's the Series 1 as well, which means if I pan you back around here, he doesn't have a rear wiper. So yeah, sorry wiper fans, no rear wiper on this one. But yeah, so that's the Rover. And then if I spin you around, the MR2 we did a will it start video on. So that's Dad's retirement project. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Ignore the dead Astra, we don't talk about that. So we'll pan across to the Hillman, who's been somewhat resting. So Hillman's going to have a bigger carb on it and bigger manifold on it to make it just a little bit nicer to drive in terms of horsepower. He also needs a rear axle seal. So this is the 1965 Hillman Super Minx. So he's there, just sort of waiting his turn. Then we had sort of the newest acquisition, which was Frank the Laguna. He's actually on his way out the fleet. Lovely car, very early Mark 1 Laguna 1.8 RT, but unfortunately, as they do at that age, he needs welding on the sills and things, and we just haven't got the time to do him right. So yeah, he's going to move on to a new owner soon, who hopefully plans to restore him. So you may see him around about in shows and things. Yeah, and that's sort of it. The Fiesta in the corner is Raz's girlfriend's car that's sort of broken at the moment as well. So as I say, we're collecting broken ones. The hero of the fleet that I will take you outside to see, and you'll be horrified at the state of him, is old Reg the 620 Ti. So now that Ryan's daily's broken, he's been forced into action, and action he has seen, as you can see from the state of him. Ryan commutes at least an 80-mile round trip each day, which involves country lanes. The state of the weather at the moment, even if you wash him, he's like this again in 2 seconds. But he's my 1998 620 Ti. So he's the 2-litre turbo, 200 brake Rover. That's very much my wolf in sheep's clothing, and I love him to bits. So yeah, as you can see, he's in need of a good wash, which he will get, so don't panic, because I don't want him to disappear in terms of salt and everything as well. But yeah, he's the one that's doing the miles at the minute, and he is the daily default backup again. And yeah, that's why I now sort of don't take kindly to any Rover bashing comments. I was one of them in the early days, so, you know, colour me converted. But yeah, this car just goes on and on and on, and he needs a few bits to him. One of the rear calipers is sticky, so I've ordered up one of those off the internet, and a set of pads, so he needs that doing. I need to tidy up various things, obviously give him a wash. He needs a new gearbox, because he's on the original one at 194,000 now, and he's very sloppy. But he just goes. So yeah, the Rover comments are not, not accurate. So that is the state of the fleet at the moment. The one that isn't here, that's also been pressed back into action, is Rado the Corrado. He's with my dad at the moment since he broke the ZR around the back. So yeah, he's also in daily work. But yeah, more updates soon, and thank you for watching. Do subscribe and like if you like what we're doing.